Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today, what I'd like to do is to talk about this is mainly for beginners too, the steps, the very first set of steps when considering a watch. And so let's get started. The first thing you want to consider is the price. I mean, like, the prices have a huge range. Up here, I've got a $26,000 Patek Philippe Nautilus, and they range all the way through a 1650 Nomos. All of these are decent watches too. I mean, they're all mechanical watches. They all have their own movements, and but they have way different prices. That's another story too. Now, the next thing that I think is important to consider is the type of watch you want, and there are a lot of different types. And here are just a few. There's a diver's watch, a pilot's watch, a field watch. All of those types of watches are generally considered sports watches. A dress watch is something more formal that you'd wear when you're with a coat and tie and so forth. And there's another one, it's called an office watch. And the difference between a dress watch and an office watch, a, an office watch is something you'd wear every day to work, and you want it to be accurate, and generally they can be precious metals, but the one there, the Harboring 2 I'm showing, is made out of steel, whereas dress watches, not always, but generally are made of gold or platinum, something like that. So that's the second thing that you want to think about is, what about the type? Now, once you decide on a type and you start looking at watches, one of the first things that I always check, and I think is important to check, you want to know what you're getting, okay? And by that I mean you want to know what movement is in your watch. The the base movement of a watch is really sort of what is at the core of the watch's movement to keep track of time and date and any other thing that you may have on the watch. Now here, we'll take a look at the one there. It's called IWC Portofino, and it's listed at $4,700. And the movement is listed as a 35-111 caliber. Okay, it's an automatic self-winding, 42-hour power reserve, 4 hertz frequency, 126 components, 25 joules. The Geneva waves, Côte de Genève, and Perlage. Okay, that's fine. Now, the thing about it is, though, not some, but quite a few watch companies will have their own name for a caliber. And so what you want to do is there's this place that's called mywatchbase.com. And if you go to mywatchbase.com, now this one is listed as IWC caliber 35-111, so you look up caliber 35-111. And what you find is at the very base of it is a Sellita SW300-1. Now, this is not a very expensive movement. Now, you're talking about almost a $5,000 watch with this particular IWC Portofino. To give you an idea for comparison, there's one called Meistersinger PM903 Pangea for $1,480. Okay, now compare that, and it has exactly the same movement, the SW300-1. If for whatever reason you prefer the IWC over the Meistersinger, that's fine. The big point is, though, is that you need to know what you're paying for and what you're getting. And the quickest way to do that is to take a look at the movement, see what the base movement is. Okay, the next step is to compare quality. How do you compare quality? Well, there are a lot of different things with quality. We're going to take a look at that IWC Portofino again. Remember, $4,700. The base movement was a Sellita SW300, not made by IWC, but used by them. One of the criteria for a good watch is whether or not they have a manufactured movement, often called an in-house movement. Do they make their own movement, or do they buy it from a movement maker such as Sellita or Sopron or some other movement company? The Christopher Ward is an example. Now, Christopher Ward has both Sellita movements as well as their own manufactured or in-house movement. Their manufactured movement is called an SH21, and that's the base movement of it. Okay, so it's considered to be a better one. Now, IWC also makes their own movements, and but the whatever they call that, the 35111, isn't one of them. And the ones with the movements made by IWC are considerably more expensive. So when you compare a couple watches, for example, if we look at this Christopher Ward C1 Grand Malvern Power Reserve, it's 1935, all right, which is less than half of what the Portofino has. Now you might point out, well, the Portofino has a date as well as as everything else, and so, well, okay. So then what you do is you ask, is the date window worth $2,700? Or you can look and see if there are other watches, let's say something from Christopher Ward, with a date window. All right, so it's a kind of thing that, and it's one way to compare quality. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, well, IWC is far better known than Christopher Ward, and they have a much better reputation, which is true up to a point. And I wouldn't disagree with that. But when you look at the core of the watch, you want to find out what is at that core, and I think that's an important thing to do. Okay, now the last thing, or well, of course, one of the last things anyway, is to take a look to compare the prices. Now, the Jaeger-LeCoultre, the year 2020 master control date, the MSRP, that's the manufactured suggested retail price, is $6,700. Now, compared with the quality, Jaeger-LeCoultre is considered to have very fair prices and very good quality. So it's one of those watches that a lot of collectors like to get, myself included. But now when we look at the price, here we have the MSRP of $6,700, and the three watches are identical. They're the same ones. They're 2020 Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Control date, and they're brand new. One is 5245, another is 5275, and another is 5400. All three of these were from the United States. So we're comparing apples and apples on this. Now, the difference of the best price is $1,455. If you don't compare prices and you just feel better about going into a Jaeger-LeCoultre boutique or one of their authorized dealers, that's fine. A lot of people feel better about doing that because of certain kinds of guarantees and so forth. But it wouldn't hurt to check on some of these other better priced ones, what the dealer has in terms of warranty and so forth. If there's a big difference and you're not comfortable with it, then pay the extra amount. But you need to know exactly what you're paying for. Now, along those lines, let's take a look at a watch. Now, this watch is by Montblanc, and it's called the Montblanc Heritage Spirit Moon Phase Stainless Steel Automatic Men's Watch, 11 111620. That's the reference number on it. Now, the MSRP on this one is $4,700, just like the IWC we looked at. And similarly to the IWC, this particular Mont Blanc has a base Sellita SW200-1. The SW300 is, I don't know what that is, probably a little newer, a little bigger, some kind of difference that they have, because they're both automatics. And so, look at a watch. This is a pretty neat watch. It's got a moon phase. It has what's called a hand date. That's a little dial down at 6 o'clock that goes around, and each one is 1 through 31. And so you can keep track of the date with that. Now, like I said, the MSRP is $4,700, but the price is $1,675. Now, this is a new watch, and it's never been used or sold or anything. And so you may ask yourself, why? What's wrong with this watch? Well, it just didn't sell. Sometimes a watch, for lots of different reasons, just won't sell. There's something about it that people they pass on. It's nothing mechanical. It's usually the way it looks or feels or just something. This one I like just fine. It's not, I haven't bought it, but when you look at the price difference, that's a huge price difference, and that's the important thing about it. If everything else being the same. Now, here we are back at this is what we found out about it at the watch base. There's the reference number 111620, the case, the dial, and so forth, and then down below they have the movement, and that's where we find out that it's a SW 200-1, all right, Sellita-1, 4 hertz, and then they have the size information, everything else. So it's something. So when you're buying a watch, you can go into a dealership and spend all the money you want to, and they'll gladly take it for you. Some with popular watches, some dealerships will charge you what they call a premium. Premium is they knock up the price. Let's say that there's a Rolex that's very popular and a lot of people want it, and it's become they have a hard time keeping them in stock, and so what they're allowed to do is to charge a premium. In other words, charge, let's say, $200 or $300 more than the list price, or even $1,000 more. And some people are willing to pay it. I'm not, but some people are. Okay. So anyway, when planning, all of this, I classify it as coming under research, and that is finding out everything you can. First of all, you decide on your price range, and I think it's really important to be realistic about your price. Your income and your money and what available income you have to buy a watch, and if you're smart, you'll stick with it. And so you'll look at watches in that price range. And it doesn't have to be the MSRP. You look at that first, and then you find one that's in your price range. And then, of course, you're going to be considering the type of watch you want. You check the movement, you compare the quality, and then finally you compare the offers and get the best offers. Now, a lot of people say, well, you should, if you do that, you're taking a chance and so on and so forth. To some extent, that could be true, but you're taking a chance just about with any purchase in the sense that if you get it at home and it doesn't work, and you go back and take it to the dealer, and the dealer says, it was fine when it left here. All kinds of things can happen like that, so you got to be careful. All right, well, listen, I'd like to get your feedback on this, what you think about it. Any other ideas you have or questions you have, and put them in the comments section. And until Sunday, when we have our collection review, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.